Today we are going to address a topic that has been highly requested, which is shaky tracking. This is a problem that most players deal with at some point. In today's video, we're going to go over why this is happening and how you can fix it, along with in-game exercises that can improve your tracking overall in the finals. Before we get into that, if this video helped you out in some way, shape, or form, please smash that like button. It's a small button for you, but it means the world to me. Also, subscribe for all things the finals, as well as the most comprehensive weapon guides in the game. Let's jump into it. So to start things off, I need to say a disclaimer. This video is going to be geared more towards the fully automatic weapons for each class. While the principles can still be applied to burst or single shot weapons, you won't be able to receive as much benefit from the exercises as you would from the weapons with a high RPM that can fire continuously while laying down that trigger. Now with that all out of the way, let's do a deep dive as to what exactly causes shaky tracking. The biggest and most common cause of it is your mental. Being that your fight or flight responses plays a huge role as to how a lot of players grip their mouse. In other words, the more pressure a player is put under, the tighter they grip the mouse, in the hopes that it'll bring them more precision and accuracy. This not only creates shaky tracking, it also is the culprit when it comes to slow reaction speeds, as well as removing the ability of the player to make spontaneous micro adjustments in order to maintain the target. These micro adjustments are extremely important, especially when it comes to maintaining the recoil of the weapon, keeping up with an opponent that is strafing unpredictably, or tracking an opponent that is 25 to 30 meters out. As you can see, there is a domino effect that can occur if the player responds to stress poorly. So how do we fix this? The answer is to build the habit of maintaining a loose and snug grip throughout every engagement, and rewrite the habit of tensing up under stress. This is most definitely easier said than done, but if the habit is created, it will improve your tracking tremendously, guaranteed. Here's a huge tip for you guys that really helped me when I was getting used to gripping the mouse this way, which was to take a deep breath and blow out every single time I was engaging the opponent, just like a sniper would do it to calm their hands right before taking the shot. So since we're on the topic of grip, I strongly recommend that you place more focus on securing the mouse by gripping the sides, and get used to minimizing the pressure of holding down both left and right click when firing. This will prevent you from putting a lot of stress on the front end of the mouse, which will hurt the player's ability to micro adjust as well as make spontaneous directional changes with the target. This is also what I like to call front heavy tracking. Instead, for smaller horizontal movements, prioritize putting more focus on tracking with your wrist. This will smooth out your tracking instead of the jagged reticle movements caused by front end pressure. So besides how we react to stressful situations and grip the mouse, the way we aim can also contribute to how smooth our tracking is, giving ourselves a bigger target to focus on instead of strictly relying on lining up the reticle. Makes it a lot easier to stay focused and maintain acuity on the target. This is also known as model aiming. Lastly, having smoother movement in general will reflect the smoothness of your tracking. Having jittery movements and trying to flick every chance you get will not improve your mechanical skill. When an average player sees a pro do a flick, what they are really seeing is a target switch at a very high level, going from one target to another in the quickest, smoothest, most efficient way. This is trained by starting out slow, then through repetition, refinement, and slowly increasing the speed, they can create what is perceived as a flick, when in reality it is a simple, smooth, straight, efficient line to the target. My point being is that smoothness is held at a high priority, and applying it to your movements in general will help you in almost every category when it comes to your mechanical skill, especially for tracking. So before we get into the training routine, I have a special message from my partners at Apex Gaming PCs. If you're looking to improve your gameplay experience, upgrade from console, or start streaming some of your favorite games, Apex has got you covered with the Streamer Plus. It has an AMD Ryzen 5 7600X and Radeon RX 9070 XT, making it the perfect mid-level PC that will have you streaming ready in no time. Designed by the experts at Apex Gaming PCs, this rig is crafted to meet and exceed your expectations. If you're interested, the link's in the bio as well as pinned in the comments. Also, don't forget to use my discount code HAZED for 10% off your purchase. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Before starting, there are a few techniques I want you to be doing throughout the entirety of this routine. The first is to prioritize smoothness. in every action, from how you turn your character all the way to aiming down sights. When acquiring your target, try to aim and not get ahead of your target path. This will provide you with more room for error when the target decides to switch directions. Then when you finally have locked onto the target, utilize model aiming to maintain it. Now when firing your weapon, try your best to put as little pressure as possible on your right and left click. Then track the target with your wrist and forearm rather than your hand. The last is when you are in the process of tracking, try to move in the target's direction path with one singular clean motion, while not overreacting to directional changes to optimize your time on the target. When the target switches directions, smoothly switch directions with it, instead of flicking back onto it as fast as you can. If you work on these techniques, trust me, the speed will come. Again, please perform all these actions for the entirety of the routine. To start, we're going to find our fully automatic weapon of choice, find the first moving target in the firing range, get in front of the yellow barrier, spending 3 minutes aiming down sights and not firing while tracking the target. Try your best to not predict the target's direction changes, but rather spontaneously move with it. This is what is known as reactivity tracking. Tracking this way will help you keep up with those targets that have above average movement and are quite hard to predict. For the second part of this scenario, eliminate the target while performing the same actions. Also, make sure to evenly distribute the eliminations of the target strafing in both directions. Please perform other strafe-related scenarios like this as well. Do this for another 3 minutes. Moving on to the next exercise, we'll be incorporating a layer of movement and splitting this exercise into 2 parts just like the previous one. Move in the opposite direction of the target. This is also known as counter-strafing, which indirectly promotes recoil smoothing because the reticle is moving dynamically. Spend 3 minutes tracking the target without firing, and then another 3 while firing. Now we're going to progress even further into the firing range and stand on the 10-meter marker. Then proceed to track and counter-strafe like the previous scenario, spending 3 minutes tracking without firing while aiming down sights, and another 3 eliminating the target. This to help our wrist and arm get used to tracking with a wide range of motion. Next, I want you to move closer to the medium target, within the 5-meter range. Maintain hip firing for the entirety of this exercise while keeping the target centered, then using it as a pivot point to orbit around it. And maintain centering for as long as the target is up. Track it for 3 minutes straight without firing, then after that, continuously eliminate it for another 3 minutes. For the next exercise, we're going to move deeper into the firing range and add an element of target acquisition to the routine with my staple 360 target acquisition and tracking. We're going to alternate between the front and the back moving target in the firing range. When starting the exercise, please utilize the target acquisition sequence for the entirety of this exercise. This is by first acquiring the target, centering the target while still in hip fire, then aiming down sights and firing. What this will do is minimize the amount of travel distance the reticle needs to make in order to get to the target. Please utilize counter-strafing for the entirety of this exercise. Do this for 3 minutes straight. The last and final exercise is going to be vertical tracking, and you can do this by getting on medium, placing a jump pad right here and a goo grenade right here to block the path of the target so that it does not proceed any further. When the dummy hits the jump pad, use the target acquisition sequence when it is at the peak of its jump, and try your best to eliminate the target before it hits the ground. Do this for 3 minutes straight. And that's about it for the routine in the practice range. If you want to improve faster and want a little bit of extra credit, jumping into TDM and applying these techniques in every engagement will help you experience improvement a lot quicker. Yes, when you're just starting out, there is a high chance you will get destroyed, but if you stick with it and apply the techniques from this video, your ability to smoothly track will improve tremendously. Now, while it is beneficial to do the entire routine, I understand that some of us are strapped for time and just want to get in and enjoy the game. So pick out the aspects that you feel you're weak on, whether it be close or mid-range tracking, and just perform those exercises. There is just one more thing I want to address. This routine is meant to isolate and improve specific parts of the player's mechanical skill, without introducing variables such as specializations, gadgets, or the multitude of random events that can happen in the arena. Consciously focusing on these aspects in isolation will help the player improve at an expedited rate, so they can seamlessly incorporate it into their gameplay when introducing the multitude of variables that can happen in any given match. Anyhow guys, I have a few huge videos coming towards the end of the month. One will be my personal Kovacs playlist that I found to be the most optimal when it comes to mimicking the movements of the players in the finals, and some scenarios that I even created myself. So stay tuned for that. And again, if you found this video informative, please smash that like button. It's a small button for you, but it means the world to me. Also, subscribe for all things the finals and the most comprehensive weapon guides in the game. Peace and love guys, and I'll see you in the arena.